just natural.
Hi peeps. Today
Today we are making pilau with my mom. We're gonna be making it with some chicken wings and pigtail. It's one of my mom's specialties. Everything she cooks is delicious, as a matter of fact. Here she is, the chef extraordinaire. So right now we caught her in the middle of cleaning up the pigtail. We have a bowl here that's already been cleaned up and trimmed up. Here are the scraps that came off of it, and she's gonna show us how to clean up this final piece. So at this point, we've already boiled the pigtail once in water with a splash of vinegar, boiled it for about 30 minutes or so, and now she's just trimming off any pieces of like obvious fat that she can see and getting it ready for a second boil. So the pigtail does come salted in a brine, so before we cook it, we boil it quite a bit to get the excess salt out. And she also cuts it down into smaller pieces so that it's ready for the pot of pilau. And here we have it. Doesn't look like much just yet, but it's gonna be so good. Oh my goodness. So this is the way that we've been able to find pigtails where we are right now. Different places sell it in different ways. This one is a little bucket and it comes in a brine, so it's packed in salt and a few other items to cure it.
right now I finished cleaning it up and putting it back on the stove to boil again for the second time. Today I think I'm only gonna boil it for 2 times because when I put it in the chicken, it would all the flavors will get together.
Okay, sounds good. This time, do you also put vinegar in the water again for the second boil?
No.
Okay.
Only one.
So just for the first time that you're boiling it out?
Right.
Okay, got it.
Just to take out a lot of the salt.
Okay, got it. Good, good, good. So now back on the stove.
It's time to season the chicken for the pilau. I soak it in lemon salt all year and then I wash it up. So this is the washed up chicken.
Okay, so chicken's ready to season.
Right. I love this garlic. You know, I have garlic in this seasoning also, but I love this one. It's minced California garlic.
Minced garlic. Of course, you can do the one that's already minced, or you can use fresh garlic cloves and cut it up yourself.
Right. This is my way of doing. You can do anything that you want with what you have.
Right. So we know that flavors and seasonings and methods are different depending on the culture, the family, the traditions, etc. So we just have some minced garlic on there.
This one is a green seasoning that I ground up and it can last for years.
So this is
it's like everything in it.
Homemade green seasoning.
Homemade green seasoning, yes.
Do you want to give them a little bit of a clue as to what kind of things? It's almost a secret recipe. Yeah. You want to tell them a little something?
Yeah, we have it's onion, garlic,
parsley, celery, some
I call it side, but
scallion.
And
some green pepper, some other stuff too. We're not gonna give you all the secrets today.
The only thing that I put to preserve it, it's I grind it with vinegar and I put some salt. All this dry thing, I don't put it in there as yet.
Right.
I add that after. So this is just a green seasoning, and it can last for years. And maybe about 2 or 3 spoonfuls of that I'll put on the chicken.
And this here was about what, 30 or so wing segment?
Yeah, 30 chicken.
Or sections?
Sections, yeah.
So drummettes and the middle part of the wing, about 30 pieces or so.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
This is garlic salt. I only use regular salt to soak the chicken in. I don't put it on food. But like, I'll put a little garlic salt. We just shake a little. I'll put some black pepper. I would put hot pepper. My kids don't like hot pepper.
She also has a homemade pepper sauce recipe, which is quite potent because it's made with habaneros and lots of spice. So we have the garlic salt and black pepper.
I found this little thing. I used to see people use it at my job and I used to wonder what it is. And when I came, I saw my daughter has it and I use it and I fell in love with it. So I told everybody about it. Tajin. They put it on every and anything. I put it on my seasoning.
Right, so it's a blend of what, like chili peppers and lime and a little bit of salt, I think.
Yeah, but
and
it gives it a beautiful flavor. It's
often used in like Mexican cooking,
right,
from what we've seen, or they sprinkle it on
right,
fruits or veggies or what have you.
Yeah,
but it does add a nice little something to it.
This is just some red ground pepper because my kids don't like my hot pepper, so
cayenne pepper. And like she said, the seasoning is up to you, depending on what your flavor is like, if you know how you like your meat seasoned.
This is some paprika.
Building up those flavors.
Yeah, and that's just to shake on a little, like a little. And this is our Mrs. Dash.
The original blend of the Mrs. Dash seasoning.
I'll put some regular mustard. Anyone you have you want to put, you can do it. This one almost done too.
Yeah, we have more in the pantry. So this one is, what's the brand? French's Yellow Mustard.
And the next vinegar that I'll put, regular vinegar, no, I'll put some balsamic vinegar on this.
And by the time she's done with all this, if you talk about flavor, you're gonna want to taste some of this.
I put some lime.
So a squeeze of lime juice. Yeah. And just to review while we wait on that, we have the Mrs. Dash, garlic salt, black pepper, Tajin, some yellow mustard, smoked paprika, ground red pepper, cayenne pepper, minced garlic, balsamic vinegar. Now here we are squeezing some lime juice. And all this is adding to the flavor that we're building that'll be able to taste, that you'll be able to taste throughout the whole pot.
Yeah.
Once the food is cooking.
Yeah, and smell.
Oh, it already smells good. It already smells good and you ain't even done nothing yet.
You can even prep your stuff. You can squeeze your lime before you do anything. You can always prep your stuff.
Right, some people mix up their seasonings in a separate bowl first and then pour it over the meat. Like, it all depends on your style.
Yeah.
And then we mix it on down.
Some people even put their hands in it to mix it up.
Right. You can massage it up real good if you want to have your hands smelling like chicken for the rest of the day.
Or seasoning.
Or seasoning, really. If you want your hands smelling like seasoned chicken for the rest of the day. So just combine everything until it is well coated, and then we leave it to marinate. And of course you can marinate overnight for a couple of days if you have the time. In this case, we're doing it day of, because this was a little bit of a spur of the moment idea to make the pilau.
I was gonna make a pot of soup. They say they want pilau.
You would have soup every single day of the year if we allowed you to.
Even the hottest day.
Hear me, if we allow you to. You can do what you want, obviously, but we had a taste for her pilau today, so.
Okay.
All right. So chicken is nice and seasoned.
Yeah. Cover.
Ready to go. And we'll cover it over and let it marinate.
Yeah.
While we prep a few other items.
Yeah.
Is the pigtail boiling?
Yep.
This is the second boil, like she said, just with water this time to boil out some of the salt and also cook the pigtail through as well. Later it'll be added to the pot with the rest of the food, but for now it's doing its thing on its own. And so the first boil was about 30 minutes. Is the second boil about the same?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's hard to go wrong with this. There's so much salt in there that it does need an opportunity to boil out a lot of that so that your pot is not overly salt when you're done. Okay, so the meat is ready to go. The pigtail finished boiling. And as far as the amount of fat or skin on there, that's the personal preference. She cuts off most of the obvious pieces but leaves certain pieces on. And then the chicken has marinated for a while.
And I'm gonna put the chicken.
So then we have our giant pot here that we'll add the meat to.
The pot is ready to we're not gonna cook it full.
Don't speak too soon, because somehow even when we plan to make a small pot, it never turns out to be a small pot. Alright, and then a little bit of water was added to the bowl of seasoning just to get the pot started.
Then gravy master. Normally I would brown sugar, but the gravy master does not as good.
Right. So for like stew chicken and pilau and stuff, you can brown the sugar in the pan, which is the traditional way to do it, right?
But you can just put some in the pan and let it simmer with it for a while, brown up the meat, and it's just as good as the sugar.
All right, so this is a shortcut version, basically.
It's not a shortcut, it's just...
It's a shortcut.
It's not the hard work we used to do in St. Vincent all the time. We don't have the time to brown and brown.
Okay, so instead of caramelizing the sugar until it turns brown and all of that, we're using this one here, Gravy Master, and like she said, they have different brands of this. And this gives it the darkness and the color, the depth of flavor, the richness, all of that, right?
Yeah,
okay.
So I'm gonna pour some in. And you can put, and then if you need some more, you still can, if it's not brown enough, you can also always put more.
Right, because I remember
than the sugar.
I remember the Americanized way of saying pilau used to be brown rice and chicken. So I guess this is the brown that we're talking about in that kind of case.
Yeah, you can put as much as you want to make it as brown as you like.
Okay, so to personal preference, basically.
Right. Let this cook down for a bit.
All right, so
if you need more, you add more. If not, it's okay.
And one of the things I like about pilau, not that I make it myself, is that it is a one pot kind of meal. So once your chicken is seasoned and everything else is ready to go, it all cooks in one pot.
When I was growing up, I used to love pilau. I grew up in the Caribbean, in St. Vincent. We had a farm, so rice wasn't our stable diet. But I used to ask Mom, when you cook rice? She said, "Oh, you have sweet mouth, huh?" But we used to cook rice once a week. Other than that is vegetables and Tajin and yam and everything, all the good stuff. My mom used to cook, and she would feed 15 of us who used to live at home, and still have food left over for when any neighbor or anybody passed, they could have a dish of food.
Which explains the giant pots. So let's not pretend that we don't cook for an army, because that's how you learn how to cook. And
yeah, I have a really hard time of cooking small because my family is not big, but
your family's not small.
Well, I mean my immediate family, I mean.
Oh, okay.
There is not a lot of us, but I still struggle cooking small.
Right. All right, so the pot has been on over high heat for about 5 minutes or so. As you can see, it's starting to simmer a little bit and starting to take on a little bit of that brown color. But we still got a ways to go.
I put on a keep my water to boil.
As you can see, we're starting to get some good color going on here. And since it is a one-pot meal or one-pot dish, once the rice and everything goes in here, that's also going to take on some of this color as well. So at this point, what we're doing is just stirring it up, making sure everything has an opportunity to get some of that color, and getting the chicken cooked most of the way through before we add other elements. And we do still have it over pretty high heat. It is a very big pot, so that's part of the reason as well. So at this point, we're gonna go in with a small can of tomato sauce. This one is the Spanish style, apparently. Not sure exactly what the difference is between the regular tomato sauce and this one. I guess this one has more flavors or something. And then a tiny bit of water along with that as well. So again, we're building flavors here.
The peas, open the peas and then I never put in the peas, then I go break up slow. You put in the peas and put in some water, and when it starts to boil again, then you go put it in.
Alright, so we just added in the tomato sauce and the kettle just finished boiling. You can see it smoking there, so that we have hot water on hand as we go along and add the rest of the ingredients. Next up, we're gonna prepare our pigeon peas. So these are green pigeon peas. We're using 2 cans. They're the 15-ounce cans.
If you go here, Brian, you can use any peas.
So we just give them a quick wash up, a quick rinse before adding them to the pot. It smells so good in here already. You have no idea.
And I'm gonna add some of the boiling water.
So what, to cover it? Is that how you know how much to put?
Yeah. And then I'm gonna put in the rice. I might need more water, but for right now, I'm just gonna make sure everything's in.
All right, so when that comes to a boil with the meat and the pigeon peas, tomato sauce, next up would be the rice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Normally I just throw it in the bowl, but I'm gonna measure it today.
Right, that's one of the things that is very different about me and my mom. She grew up in an island household where she learned to cook by looking at her mom cook. And I don't quite have that same instinct yet. So I'm very much curious about how much of things you put. And she's more of like, oh, just add some until you know it's right. And so
that's half a pound of rice.
So 1 cup of rice.
1 cup of rice, yes. It's 8 ounces. The cup is 8 ounces.
But like we said, she usually eyeballs it and just adds in to her heart's content until the ancestors tell her, that's enough, my child.
We don't know. And believe me, it comes out the same all the time.
Right.
So,
even if they don't cook to a recipe or with measurements, somehow it's always perfect. So I myself am trying to master this skill that they've cultivated over the generations.
okay, so this is 2.5 cups of rice.
Right, and this is approximately based on the amount of meat that you're putting right now, right? So if you were using less meat, you'd use less rice, obviously. But right now we have a big pot on the stove.
I always wash my rice. I know a lot of people don't, but I like to wash my rice.
Right, some people say that it washes out the nutrients or something out of the rice if you wash it.
Yeah.
But it's one of our ways. And this as well, something I could never master. The entire bowl of rice would have been down the drain if that were me.
Young people.
My mama just showing off, as usual.
Yeah, okay. Practice makes perfect, right?
Yep. And in all my years of practice, every grain of that rice would be down the drain even still.
Really practice, This as much as it's boiling because it's still on high. It's still on high. And I'm gonna put in my
So you're just scooping it out of the water that's remaining.
Right. Some people just dump it in there, but I like to have fun.
And I cannot say enough that all of this is based on personal preference and family traditions and island customs, because every island makes pilau different. Every family probably makes it a little bit different.
Okay, so this I can do. Let's go there. Yeah, as long as it tastes good and it can eat, more power to all of us.
And without any measurements or anything, somehow it's always perfect, always the same every single time.
I don't even taste my own food. Somebody have to taste it before you cook.
It smells so good in here right now. Oh my gosh. You can always smell pilau in the air, especially when you brown the sugar first. You brown the sugar in the empty pan, and then you add the chicken or the meat to it, and it first hits that heat, and the smell automatically like spreads throughout the house.
Yeah.
But it smells just as good right now anyway. All right, so now we just cover it back and let it
boil strong, and then I turn it down.
Okay, so once it gets to a strong boil, we finally lower the heat a bit.
Yeah.
And again, this high heat is mostly due to the fact that it's a huge pot. All right, it's been about 20 minutes since we added the rice and the remaining water. Still looking good, but you can see it's cooking down. And if I were to stir it up, you'd see that the rice is starting to cook through as well. Oh my gosh, it smells so good in here. And this is also the point where a lot of people would add like bell peppers or onions or whatever the case is. We already have all of that in my mom's homemade green seasoning, so there's not much of a need to add more, but you could if you like.
So let me stir this.
We need more water?
Yes, you have to put some more water.
All right, we'll add a bit more water. It is starting to stick to the bottom of the pan a little bit, but that is not a problem. Everyone but me seems to prefer the bun at the bottom of the pan where it does stick a little bit, but adding a little bit of extra water is not a problem whatsoever. it's better to add more as you go because you can't take out water if you start off with too much. So let it continue to cook down. One of the things we like to serve with our pilau is carrot salad, or at least what we call carrot salad. What we do is we grate up some whole carrots and also a tiny wedge of onion, and then we mix it up with some mayonnaise and we let it sit and let all the flavors combine, and that's kind of like a creamy carrot salad. Some people add raisins to it or a whole host of other things, but this is one of the ways that we like to do it. You can also add the carrots directly to the pot of pilau, chop them into slices and do it that way. We like this because it's nice and cool and refreshing, and it adds another dimension when you're eating the food. All right, and we have our finished pot. Ooh, ah. So here's what our finished pot looks like. If only you could smell how amazing it smells right now and how delicious it tastes. Oh my goodness, so good. So we're gonna get it plated up in just a bit. All right, and here is the final plate. It's so delicious. None of us could resist taking the time to dig in. You can see some of the chicken here. At this point, the chicken starts to fall off of the bone. Some of the pigtail here. Got that nice, deep, rich color. And oh my gosh, it tastes so amazing. I'm having mine with a bit of the carrot salad that we made and some slices of tomato. My mom is gonna have hers with the same, as well as a few slices of avocado. And you can mix it up depending on your veggies of choice if you wanna do a salad or otherwise, or you can skip it because it's definitely a delicious meal, whichever way you serve it. All right, time to dig in. Got to get a little bit of everything on the fork. So good. You need to make this immediately. Delicious. Thank you so much for joining us for this video. We really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, definitely hit the thumbs up button. Also, let us know in the comment section down below what you thought of it, and be sure to subscribe and come back for our future videos. Next time, we're gonna be making something else delicious, and we can't wait to see you there.